Giffords.org is letting the cat out of the bag. My brothers and sisters, Tim, everyone across this United States, boy, oh boy, are we having a great day because Giffords is excited about pending ATF and White House action. Who's excited? I know I am. Tim, I know you're excited because this always gets you in just the best mood when malfeasance takes over, doesn't it?
Yeah, I can't say I'm going to be in a great mood about this because, if ATF moves forward with this one, I'm going to be pretty angry.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to it. Well, before we get you too angry, for everyone watching, make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn the notification bell on. And this content is brought to you by our sponsor, LAS Concealment, and then we are probably going to get angry. And the content today is brought to you by LAS Concealment. And if you're in the market for a holster for your favorite freedom tool, LAS Concealment is worth a look. They have everything that you could imagine, all molded from Kydex to your said freedom tool. Everything is fit directly to that model for a superior comfort and safety. They have inside and outside the waistband options, multiple designs, all sorts of different colors, and they are tested by the world's most elite special forces. Make sure you check it out. There's a link in the description box below, and thank you so much to LAS Concealment for making this content possible. All right, so once again, thank you to LAS Concealment. Tim, we have got to talk about something, and this is not the way I like to start weeks off, Tim.
No.
When Giffords.org is over here pounding the drum and, ringing the bell and being real excited on their Twitter feed around pending gun control actions, which redefine people who sell guns as gun dealers, and all the things we're about to talk about, it doesn't make me happy.
No.
Doesn't make me happy at all.
No. And of course, ATF's involved, which just makes it even better.
Well, you have to. So, I think it's only appropriate, Tim, that we start off with the gloating from Giffords.org, and then we break down what's actually going on here, because the Senate Bipartisan Safer Communities Act is coming to kick us right in the goods again, because that was like the worst thing that John Cornyn's ever done, I'll be honest. But let's get this Giffords clip here. Mr. Producer, this is number 1. Let me show the people what they're up to. Every gun sale should require a background check. Thanks, at POTUS, we're almost there. For years, we've pushed for the government to require more gun sellers to become licensed dealers and conduct background checks. ATF is expected to act any day now, and they link a New York Times article which was floating the idea. So, if ATF is expected to act any day now, and the Biden administration is expecting pending action, do you think we're talking about another rule introduction here, or do you think we're talking about the Biden administration putting out an executive action or order? What do you think is more likely here?
Well, I don't know, but based on what they've said, it seems like they've pretty much indicated ATF is doing this through the rulemaking process because they invoke the name of ATF, right? And what's interesting is for years we've pushed for the government to require more gun sellers to become licensed dealers. Well, what they're proposing is if you sell a gun at all, you're a gun dealer.
For a profit.
Right.
For a profit, though.
So if you bought this, this shiny new pistol and you have it for 4 or 5 months, like, you know what, I'm going to trade it in for something else. I think I want to try this. And you go and sell that to your buddy. You sell it to anybody. For profit. You sell it to a relative. You sell it to anybody. If you profit from that, you're now a criminal if this goes through.
If they make this move, and I want to make sure we reiterate, nothing has been announced officially.
Right.
This is coming from Giffords.org, and to be fair, when Giffords.org puts out a tweet like this, you could pretty much expect they've had some conversations around it, and they're not going to put egg on their own faces. But again, it has not been announced as of yet. But let me show you where this is coming from, Tim, because this guy, I can't. Let's just get it before I start my rant early. Gabby Giffords' gun control group, Giffords, is cheering executive gun controls expected to come from the Biden administration soon. Breitbart News reported on August 1 that Senator Richard Blumenthal, Democrat, Connecticut, urged the Biden administration to seize on the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act as a mean by which to enact further gun controls executively. Under the terms of the act, the Biden administration is expected to take action to expand background checks. Now, Tim, I know this is gonna shock you beyond belief, but this was a bad piece of legislation.
Oh yeah, I think we talked about that.
I can officially say it a few times.
Yeah. So
it makes me sad. It makes me very sad.
Well, this isn't going to stop. It's like we get all these great Supreme Court decisions. We've had, good legislation passed in various states. We've had all these great things happen for the 2A community, but these clowns are not going to stop. Every time we close one door, they try to open 3 more. And they've done everything from sue people to try to, if you can't get things done legislatively, they're going to try to sue companies out of existence. If they can't succeed at that, then they're going to go to the states. They're going to try to get the states to pass all sorts of crazy laws, which are now being challenged in the courts. And if that's not going to work, then they're going to pressure the ATF and the Biden administration to do things with executive action or through the rulemaking process. They're bending or breaking the rules everywhere they can just to get their agenda pushed through. They don't care how many eggs they have to break, how many rights they have to trample. They're going forward with their agenda. Damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead.
I completely agree. This is like the equivalent of political kamikaze pilots.
Yeah.
I mean, like, legitimately, these guys, what they've done in this part, I have a premonition, and I'm just going to go on a rant right here. I just feel it. So one of the things that really just gets my goat beyond measure is when Republicans last year in June, when they signed the Senate Bipartisan Safer Communities Act, led by John Cornyn, and 15 Republicans in the Senate signed onto it.
Turncoats.
I don't even know if it's turncoats or if it's just complete ignorance to what they're dealing with. I mean, like, legitimately, if you give it, let's just give them a positive intent and say maybe they wanted to come to some sort of negotiation and agreement, and they gave a little and we gave a little. They get smoked every single time because the Democrats on this move, they don't honor any agreement. They just push forward. For example, here we go. You've got the Senate Bipartisan Act, right? So here, let's just go down the main things that this thing has done. You've got money going out to states that do not have red flag laws, that are being issued outside of the due process protections guaranteed by Republicans to sign it, so it was okay and palatable. So that part failed. Then you had money assigned for schools, for hardening schools, for grants, for mental health, all those things. Well, all the schools, it's too complicated and the money doesn't go out. But by 2026, if that money's not used, it's going to get reallocated. So there's the second piece. Then you got the third piece where the ATF can reinterpret who's a danger to the population and mandate a automatic 10-day waiting period on anyone 18 to 20 years old buying a firearm in the United States nationwide. That's another thing that they've done. And now you've got the redefinition of gun sellers to anyone who makes a profit on one firearm. Like, this isn't a hypothetical. That's what they're saying, right? There are not any more ways that this could be a bigger fail on the Republicans because they said, well, it's compromise, it's bipartisan, and it's totally within the realm of acceptability for all of us to give a little.
Yes.
All they do is pass these stupid laws, hand it over to the executive bureaucracy, and they run roughshod on all of our rights. And the Republicans are like, well, we're bipartisan. Yeah. Yertle the Turtle up there is like, well, we came together and we did some great things. Cocaine Mitch.
This is what I call the Dan Crenshaw style of governance, right? He is of the opinion that, we always just have to sit down to the table because politics is a negotiation. I tried to explain to him. I said, Dan, look, man, the gun community has had enough of the constant infringements on our rights. The negotiations have been going on for 70 plus years, and we've come out on the bottom every single time. Now it's time for us to dig our heels in and say no more. You don't negotiate with terrorists. You don't negotiate with people that want you dead or your rights stripped from you or you just completely silenced. And that's what these people want. They hate us. They hate our existence. They think we're deplorables. They hate every fiber of our being. They hate our culture. They hate everything about us. And they used to be part of that, but they hate America. That's what this boils down to. They hate freedom. They hate all of this stuff, and they want to strip it from us because they see it as being bigoted, racist, misogynistic, just every ism and ist they can think of, and that's what they throw at us so they can get their agenda pushed forward. And what is their agenda? To strip you of all your rights so you just shut up, earn a living, barely, and then pay 90% of your income in taxes so they can go out and redistribute your wealth and do whatever they want. Wage wars across the world or whatever it is. But in the interim, we don't have a single right left standing. And this is just their act of doing that. And so we've got to stop with this negotiation. We've said for decades you don't negotiate with terrorists, and that's what these people are. Anybody that wants to marginalize you, put you in a box, take away your rights, and just completely subjugate you, that's a terrorist or a dictator. Take your pick. You don't negotiate with either.
You can do all of these things. And I want to emphasize for everyone watching, this is not hyperbole.
No, get on Twitter. They literally say what I just said.
That's very true. Twitter's a place. No, but that's the thing. So if you back this out away from the immediate frustration, because this is extremely frustrating, because Republicans are the only ones to blame for this law passing, of which they've manipulated and utilized through the executive branch multiple times against gun rights. And the Republicans are the only ones that are responsible for it, because the Democrats, we knew what they were going to do. They said they were going to do it. The Republicans were like, well, we put in due process protection, so it's okay. Yeah, they ignored you and did it anyway.
Yeah.
Because there's no accountability across the board. You're getting smoked across your face, and you're smiling and thinking you're winning.
Yeah.
Well, I know 100% that we have all of our rights. We have the Constitution protecting us. We have all of these institutions protecting us. They're undermining them, and the people who are the relics from the 80s and the 90s are just sitting there going, well, this is the 80s and 90s political spectrum. No, you are dealing with the hippies in the 60s and the 70s who have come to fruition.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
The flag burners are in power.
It's just...
And the Republicans just make me sick when they do this stuff, because they think, well, how we're going to get up in the polls and how we're going to better ourselves politically is we're going to be bipartisan. We're going to find some common ground here. And so, yeah, let's talk about the Safer Community Act. We're going to put in these safety provisions, and this is just fine. They go out and sell it to the constituents, and the Democrats just sitting over there laughing. That's like making a deal with Stalin. He's just going to kill him.
Yeah.
It's like,
of course.
You just don't negotiate and do deals with these people. They don't like you. They hate you. Just get on social media and go to Mastodon or any one of these far left, enclaves of social media and read what they're posting. They are vile, hateful people. These are the people that have burned cities for 2 years. And it's just they're absolute lunatics, and they absolutely hate us. And this is the end result. You don't negotiate with them. You don't go out there and draft legislation with them. You don't make deals with them. You ignore them and you dig in your heels and you fight them with every fiber of your being, because this is what they're going to do to you. And they're going to laugh about it. They're going to mock you.
Mm-hmm. And so here's some stuff from this. Now that we've got our full feelings shown.
Rant done.
So no, that wasn't even a rant. That was a ranted conversation. I think we both took part in that one.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, it happens. I think it's legit. So now let me show you what they're actually proposing here. This is number 4, Mr. Producer. The New York Times reported that the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act contained a provision that allows an expansion of background checks via a reclassification of what constitutes a firearms dealer. This provision would shift the definition of firearms dealer so as to include not only those who make their livelihood selling guns, but anyone who would earn a profit from selling firearms as well. So we're looking at more legislation that the executive branch can manipulate and twist and reclassify and redefine in order to infringe upon your rights. Tim, imagine what this would be if this was on the free speech side of things, if this was warrantless search and seizure, any of the rights that we have. And you know what? You voted last year, and that's a little too much. So since you voted twice, we're going to consider you a serial voter, and we're going to have to look at your bank records and see your rental and lease agreements and really give you a scrub through, because this is concerning behavior.
Yeah, and how do they determine whether or not you earned a profit from a sale, right?
Exactly.
Are they going to say, well, now you got to keep receipts of every firearm you purchase? And are they going to give us, like if you buy it in 1990 and you sell it in 2023, do we take inflation into account? And when we calculate profit? I mean, this is ridiculous, and this is asinine. But there are ways around this. If they go forward with this, go out there. I mean, there's 1,000 different ways to become ordained as a minister, and then set up your own charity, and then go to somebody at the gun show and say, hey, if you donate this amount of money to my charity, I'll give you this gun, and record the whole thing. And so the intent was never there, So it's just, these people, if they want to play games, we'll play games too.
Well, that's the thing. So, of course, these are all hypotheticals, but, what Tim just said, absolutely a hypothetical, not advice.
No, we don't give legal advice here.
No, we don't do that, because that would be
I'm talking about what
bad.
I might do.
No. In a hypothetical, in a dream state, where
in
you
another
were
reality.
not
ATF.
Not lucid, of course. And, I don't know why, but Tim, I'm seeing in the future a lot of guns will be sold at zero profit. Maybe a loss. It's going to be a very losing market. I feel like, man, I lose $1 every gun I sell. It's the weirdest thing. The market sure is fluctuating. I mean, it is odd.
Yeah, there's your other way around it, right?
It's weird in a hypothetical world. But I mean, like, it's hard to fully state the state of play that we're in right now, with the ATF getting smacked around by the POTUS, or not the POTUS, good Lord, they're POTUS lapdog.
Yeah.
But they're getting slapped around by the judicial system.
SCOTUS, POTUS.
SCOTUS, POTUS, whatever. The Fifth Circuit is smoking them on the pistol brace rule. The ghost gun is going to be the frames and receiver or ghost gun rule is going to be determined on Tuesday, tomorrow. and then SCOTUS might take that one up. I mean, they are meeting resistance in the courts, but they're still going forward all through executive actions. And it's because they don't have the juice in the legislature to do anything, so they're just using the bureaucracy to trample rights.
Yeah.
This is wrong. Left, right, center, up, down, medium, black, white, yellow, green. I don't care. It's wrong.
Right.
It's just...
And, whether or not this is even something they can do under the Safer Communities Act is something the courts are going to have to decide. But, when AmmoLand talked about this yesterday, I actually tweeted about it, and I said they're on a rip, but then so is the Fifth Circuit and the SCOTUS.
Right.
I think the ATF's on a mission to have all of their powers, in quotes, curtailed by SCOTUS. It's almost like they're begging to be put out of business. They're running headlong into this wall over and over again. You know what I mean? Yep. I don't know if you're into sci-fi or not, but there's this 90s science fiction movie and then a series, Stargate, and they had a capstone over the Stargate, right? And the enemy aliens would come through and they kept running into that capstone, but they were just determined they're going to keep doing it and running into it. And then later episodes, they had a blast shield that could dilate over the thing, and they would run into that. I mean, that's what ATF's doing. They're just running headlong into it, like they won't quit. It's just it's almost like they want themselves out of business. I know they're not stupid. They're evil, yes, but stupid, no. And they got to see that they're getting their butts handed to them in the courts, and they just keep doing it. It's almost like they want to be defunded and taken out of the mix, because there are plenty of decent representatives out there saying, what purpose does ATF even serve anymore? What are they doing, and why are we funding this? We need to either seriously rein them in or just get rid of them. But the downside to getting rid of them is they'll just go to FBI, and it's the same group of federal alphabet agents that are just going to harass you. So we can't move the authority to somebody else.
No.
They just need to get rid of it.
Yeah, you can't do that. So this is the part in the video where it takes a turn, right? So we've clearly expressed our true feelings on this one. Yeah. But at the end of the day, Tim, you were 100% right. Your analogy was pretty fun. I do love me a good chuppa eye for the Stargate. I'm just saying, I'm a big Stargate nerd.
I love Stargate. Yes.
Oh, it's incredible. But the big thing is, I think that's a good analogy. You're looking at the gun control advocates have certain avenues that they can take. They can't come out and demand a registry and pass it because it's against federal law. So what can they do? They can do background checks across the board and redefine who's a seller, which inadvertently gets you that registry. They've done things like, well, we can't change the Gun Control Act of 1968, so we're just going to redefine frames and receivers and redefine pistol braces and redefine readily convertible. But through the definition changes, we're going to achieve our means. Now, that's the entire thing.
Yep.
They're running headlong into something where eventually they're going to use all their juice, and if they get shut down in these areas, like one card pulls the entire card out, like the entire castle falls apart.
Right.
And they've got the pistol brace rule, they've got the ghost guns and frames and receivers. All of these things are utilizing the exact same power, and we've talked about it a lot. Chevron deference, which, by the way, is up for SCOTUS review next year.
Can't wait.
I mean,
please let that go the right way.
Oh, dude, facts. But in the long term, they are going the way of defeat. But they are accelerating into that wall. They've gone to plaid. I mean, they are going full on ludicrous speed. Thank you very much for that, by the way.
Yes.
I think you got that.
I know. Yeah, Spaceballs. I get it. Sci-fi, comedy, okay. Sci-fi, but sci-fi.
Oh, it's so good. I always watch coffee, or I always have coffee, man. And I watch my radar. We comb the desert. I can't. Okay, but I think that's the point. Is they're going ludicrous speed headlong into all these walls, and they're like Dark Helmet, where he hit the brakes and he just goes right into the console with his helmet. I mean, like legit, that's where they're going. Yeah. It is frustrating as can be right now, because you can clearly see this frustrates Tim and I. But this is the angle that they are going. This is the fight. They're not going to stop. But guess what, baby? Neither are we.
Nope.
Just saying.
And the previous rants of this video are pure emotion. I mean, that's just me being angry at these clowns because they will not stop with their antics.
No, they'll never stop. But there's a whole industry and a corporation built around it, Tim. I mean, that's what you're seeing. You've got all these organizations with high-tier employees and directors and managers, and they got to have payroll. And guess where the payroll comes from? From doing things like this. Look, we're doing something. That's the way this works, man. And you know what? We're going to beat them.
I know it's been said before. I just wish our founding fathers could see what we've done, what they gave us. And I can't help but believe that they would be appalled at what we've done. And they worked so hard and fought and sacrificed so much to give us, at the time, the best possible system of government that had ever been used by man on this planet. And in short order, after that, after fighting for freedom and liberty and everything that they guaranteed in our Constitution and Bill of Rights, it was just years after our founding that we started chipping away at them. And here we are, 250 some years later, and we're like ranked 14th of the freest nations in the world. We went from number 1 to 14 because of what we won't stop doing to ourselves. Mm-hmm. We've legislated ourselves. We have a Library of Congress that is nothing but ceiling to floor of laws, tens of thousands, millions perhaps of laws dating back to our founding. There's so many laws on the books that if you wake up and fart in the morning, you probably broke 10 of them. We have legislated ourselves into a corner here, and we've destroyed liberty to the point where we're not even top ranked. We like to say we're the freest country in the world. Not even close, folks. You live under the illusion of freedom, and these clowns at these alphabet agencies just keep dishing it out in terms of taking your liberties and freedoms away from you, painting you into a corner, making everything a felony, lowering the bar of a felony so they can strip you of your rights, your ability to vote, your ability to own a firearm. That's what they're doing. They just keep doing this to get control, I guess. I don't know what the end game is here, but it's infuriating. Okay, I'm done.
Okay. Well, no, I think that was good.
Yeah.
I think we went from that was a very good emotional potluck. I think
emotional. We've become them. It's an argument based on emotion.
I was about to say
crazy.
I was just being emotional.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, don't be emotional. Next thing I know, your hair is purple.
Yeah. And I got the crazy 1,000-yard stare.
Screaming at the sky.
Yeah.
Dude, it's really discouraging to see this type of stuff happen, but I honestly believe that the people that bring us this type of stuff on the Republican side that allow this are on the way out. These are the politicians from the 80s and the 90s where everything was fine and you could infringe anything you wanted to because it was for compromise and it was for safety and it was for all of these things. And I honestly believe that they're on the way out because there's a stronger coalition coming behind them that are going to replace them. And honestly, we've only sent in our B game at this point. These are the guys that don't make it in the real world who made it in politics, to be quite honest.
That's politics in general.
Yeah, I know, but we're about to send in our A game.
I don't know. I hope you're right.
I feel good about it.
I was going to say, because
I'm never giving up.
The 80s, anyway, was when even Joe Biden thought that gun control was not a good thing. Matter of fact, I tweeted about it. Go back to 1985, and old Joe had this to say: "I am convinced that a criminal who wants a firearm can get one through illegal, untraceable, unregistered sources with or without gun control." Senator Joe Biden, 1985. So the 80s, they didn't believe in this stuff. In the 80s, they even if they believed that they wanted to take guns away, they would never say it out loud. It wasn't until the 90s that politicians like Feinstein had hot mic moments where they'd say, well, Mr. and Mrs. America, if I had the votes, I'd take them all away. I'd round them up. And I'm paraphrasing. So this notion that our rights are to be negotiated away, or that gun rights are something that we can constantly chip away at, that's a mid to late 90s, 2000s definitely to where we are today type of thing. And I don't know that I have that much faith, because when I look at representatives like Dan Crenshaw, who when he came in, I was pretty excited, but a few years on, I can't stand the guy. And so I don't know that I have that faith in the up and coming legislators. I hope that's the case, but who are you thinking of? Who are these warriors of liberty that are coming into the Congress? So
right off the bat, I'm seeing the freshman class. It isn't really getting into the Senate yet, but the freshman class of the House,
yeah.
I can see elements of it. Like, for example, Lauren Boebert is a good example.
Yeah, Getz, and I know those guys. Yeah.
Is a good example. Gates, Chip Roy is a great example. But my point is, none of these things turn on a dime, right? And in order to infiltrate the Senate, you have to get through the House. And we're starting to see those things come into the House, and then they move into the Senate. Like, even just this year, you had North Carolina turn deep red when they elected a gun shop owner in the Senate. So, there are things that are changing,
yeah.
But it takes momentary time, because it's not just going to go from straight up infringers versus middle of the road wishy-washy people. It takes time to go into a different zone. And I see it, but it's not fully developed yet. It's in the infancy.
Yeah.
But I think that we have potential going forward. Honestly, I do.
Yeah, I hope so. I really do. For the sake of our nation.
Yeah, because I think that's a good way to end it.
Okay. Yeah. Have we made it through everything?
Cheery of hope. Oh yeah. No.
Now let's see if
that's the one.
Now let's see if YouTube has something to say about our rants.
Oh,
It's like,
don't worry, we are going to edit.
yeah, we're just
we are
gonna
we are going to edit the crap out of this one, but it's okay. Give us a nice squeaky clean outro, and
Yeah.
we'll get to work on it.
Okay, I won't screw this up like you screw up the intros, but we can erase those because we always just start over. Anyway, so
Wow.
hey, all right, everybody, if you'd like to be part of the show, there's a link in the video description below. Follow that link, and you can become part of the show. Thank you for watching, and we'll talk to you guys soon.